This is the plaintiff, Ernie Farley. He says he's been in the landscaping business for 25 years and was hired by the defendant to prepare his yard for an above-ground pool. He did all the work according to plan and still hasn't been paid for his services, which were rendered 5 months ago. So he's suing for the $531.75 he's owed. This is the defendant, Vincent Testanero. He says he built the pool on the land the plaintiff prepared, and when he filled it with water, it was obvious the land wasn't level like it should have been. The water kept spilling out of the low side, which was off by about 2 inches. He doesn't owe the hack a cent. He did a terrible job, and now he has a huge water bill to boot. He is accused of paying poorly for a pool.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff is a landscaper who prepared the defendant's backyard for a pool, but says he got stiffed. The defendant says the land wasn't level. It's the case of level with me, bro.
Thank you, Douglas. Ernie's Lawn Service and Landscaping.
Correct.
You're the owner, Ernie Farley?
Yes, I am.
You are suing Vincent Testanero for $531.75 that you say he owes you, that's still outstanding, for some work that you did in his yard in order to prepare for his above-ground pool.
Correct.
He has paid you, according to you, nothing, correct?
Nothing.
Tell me what you contracted with him to do.
My contract with him to do was to dig out for a pool to level it. It was unlevel, to dig out one end and make it level, and then take the sand that he had in the yard and put it in and tamp that out. But the sand was wet, and we couldn't tamp it properly because it was mud. So if it dried out another week or so, then we can re-break it and tamp it. So meantime,
so why didn't you just wait if it was wet? Why did you do the job? I guess when you came to it and you saw it was wet, why didn't you just wait then to do the job?
Well, I already dug it out. That was tamped. I got the sand off the driveway. I figured if I put it there,
it could dry in the spot. It can dry
out faster than being in a pile of sand.
Well, but aren't you putting it underground?
On top of the ground. Not underground, on top of the ground.
On top of the ground, and then you're supposed to do what with it?
Rake it out. Right. To grade, and then we tamp it. So it makes the sand.
How do you tamp it?
With a tamper. It's
What's a tamper?
Gas-powered tamper.
What's a tamper? It compacts it down?
Correct.
Okay. Did you tamp it down?
We tried to, but
how's it gonna, I'm just wondering how it's gonna dry out, tamp down. It didn't work out very well. The tamping of wet sand did not work out very well. All right. So according to you, you tell him what?
I told him that he would have to wait until it dries out, and we'll come back and re-rake it and re-tamp it.
And you told him not to put the pool up?
Right.
You told him that?
I wouldn't put the pool up.
You told them both that. And how did you tell them that? Verbally? Did you leave a message on the recorder? Did you send him a text? Did you send him an email? How did you tell them that?
It was on his voicemail.
Okay.
And I told him that the ground is not level.
And how did you tell her?
I told she called me and told me they put the pool up, and it was.
That's after the fact, but before the fact, it was just him.
Just him.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So then you get a phone call from her after they put the pool up, which is how long afterwards?
A week and a half.
Okay. And when she calls you, she tells you what?
That the pool is not level.
And you tell her
that why did you put the pool up? It wasn't graded properly. We had to come back to regrade it.
Okay. And what did she say?
It looked graded to her. She said it looked fine to her. That's.
What happened? According to him, he told you don't put the pool up, you're going to have a problem, and then you had a problem, and then you didn't pay him. It's not his fault. That's what he says.
Yeah, that was not discussed at all about a time frame of wet sand or anything like that. That's just him saying that, actually, just to respond to that. It took us like 2 weeks to put the pool up from the time that
Had he said anything about don't put the pool up yet?
Not at all.
Not at all. But the day he left, you thought his job was done?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
He didn't leave a message on your recorder telling you? No. Okay. So go on.
Okay. Well, what he was originally employed for was to obviously dig the area to level the surface for the pool that we were going to put up ourselves. He was to do that. He was to dig a trench to the garage where we already had the GFI outlets in the garage where we could run the line for a pump up by the pool, and to get rid of the original cost was going to be $400. He asked for an additional $100 to surface it. He was just going to dig and put the sand up in the pool area and leave it up to us to surface it.
So what's surface, tamp?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And my response was that the reason that I figured that would be part of the deal, since you have a website showing that you do this for your company to do that for pools. And he said, well, that would be an additional $100 to tamp it, to surface it. And I said, okay, then I've got a lot of brush in the back corner of my yard that we cleaned out the whole yard. And can you do that too?
What brush did you have in the backyard?
Had a lot of branches and so on from overhanging trees that we cleared and everything for.
But hadn't removed.
Right, and he was going to do that. And
is that accurate that you were going to do that as part of the deal?
No, there was only branches in back of the garage that we were going to take away.
Do you guys have a written contract?
I don't have it with me. Do you have it?
Was there a written contract?
No written.
Then I'm mistaken. There was not then.
Was there one? No. According to you, no. And according to you now, no. Why? You helped him out and reminded him of the facts. Who are you? Come on up.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm his living girlfriend.
How long have you been together?
We've been together 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years?
Yes. And there was no written. Yeah, I know.
So the work gets done. The pool goes up. You don't realize that it's not tamped properly.
Not at the beginning. See,
When you say not at the beginning, when do you realize it?
when we were filling it with water.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. And according to you, he never told you we're not done.
No.
All right. And you didn't put up the pool until how many weeks later?
Like 2 weeks.
Okay. And after you fill it up with water, what do you see?
Certainly it wasn't level, and we were concerned right off the bat that if the water was going to make it over the pump, where the water circulates in on that end of the pool, was the water level even going to get that high? Because it was already very low on the higher end of ground and off level, where at that point in time it was a good 6 inches, and ultimately it settled into like a foot to a foot and a half imbalance on both sides of the
pictures?
pool. Yeah.
May I see them?
Okay. So this is.
Okay, hold on. Okay, this is how much tile I see here, and this is how much tile I see here. That's
Yeah.
a reflection, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not even to the end yet either.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you want me to keep going? It gets
Yeah.
worse. So this is the water leaking
This is
out
when
on the side.
after it's sunk.
And what's happening there on the bottom is the sand is being washed away.
You see, Your Honor,
couple of
the
them.
bottom line is that Ernie even apologized to us that his men stopped digging on the higher end because they started to hit some roots. So what they did was they built up sand on the other side, and it all looked level at the beginning by from the naked eye, until we started putting the water in, and then it was completely off balance, and then started spilling over the other side.
Did you tell him that? Did you guys end up coming across roots?
No.
Did you never told him that?
No.
And we sent him a letter that I have concerning that.
In the letter, do you say to him, you said blah, blah, blah?
Yes, miss.
And it's not miss, it's judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
I would also accept your highness. Did you respond to his letter? Let me see your letter to him.
Okay.
All right, now this is at the end of the summer. He does the work in June.
Mm-hmm.
This is at the end of the summer. We are in receipt of your invoice for work done at our home in June. However, after further research and much discussion, Deborah and I have decided we simply cannot afford to drain the pool and put it back up before winter settles in. What had you discussed with him doing that?
Yeah.
That you would take down, how much does it cost to take down the pool? And
It was over $600 now.
A whole day's work.
It was a day's work, and it was going to
do
be
you have a
over
quote from somebody
$600.
for what that cost?
Well, no, it was the cost of the water to fill it, the salt that we used in it, and then we were going to have to obviously get more sand because the sand was now ruined.
Right. Do you have a quote for what it would cost?
No, we were actually going to do it ourselves. Ernie had lent us a pump to drain the water out. And then we decided that we couldn't afford to spend the money to fill the pool up again, add more sand and the salt that, to be able to use the pool. So we decided to try to let it go through the summer, let the kids enjoy it during the summer, and take it down in September. That's what we spoke to Ernie about doing. And then we just realized that it was just going to cost too much money.
Previously, we spoke about having your company come back out at the end of September to redo the poorly inadequate and unfinished job your company did on June 17th. But as I mentioned above, after figuring out the additional costs that we will have to endure, we cannot afford the expense. We do not feel confident. Furthermore, we do not feel confident in your services. You yourself stated to both myself and Deborah that your company did a bad job. Not only did you not complete the job for which you had been hired, and by this I refer to the clearing out of the debris in the far left corner of the backyard, but you did not properly dig out the base for the pool, and therefore one side is sunk to a difference of a foot. The cost to fill the pool, the sand that is no longer usable, the salt added to the pool is more than the $600 we're now out. At this time, we feel we owe you nothing, as services were not rendered. If you feel that we have erred, we welcome your response. Did you ever respond to the letter?
No.
Okay, the $500 and something that you are suing for, that you feel they should pay you, would be for what?
For doing the trench for the electrical conduit, but let me respond to that. Before I do any digging in somebody's yard, I have to do a call before you dig, and I have to mark out the areas that I'm going to be working. And I marked out where the conduit was going to go from the house.
But he says he had wanted you to mark out an area from the pool to the garage, not the pool to the house.
Right, but I marked out.
Why don't I just look at the contract and see what there's no contract, so I can't really see what it says.
But I marked out from the house to the pool.
The house to the pool. The pool to the house to the pool. Right, but he had says that what he told you was to do it to the garage.
Yeah, that's not what I'm told.
See where a contract will come in handy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you folks like picking up what I'm putting down?
Yep.
Like you say tomato, you say tomato. No, because that's the same thing. That's a bad example. You know, you say one thing and he says something completely different. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what you people agreed on.
Help me out here. Psychologically, why don't people make contracts? Why don't they write stuff down? What's in their heads that makes them not do it?
I guess sometimes they might just not know that they need a contract. If it's for something simple, not business related, something like that.
Yeah, but if it's for something expensive, they still don't do it. I mean, I'm trying to figure, why don't they make contracts?
Maybe they think that they can make out better in a deal if they don't have the contract written.
Oh, so they're trying to get over on the other person.
It could be.
Interesting. What do you think?
I think it just depends on the person and what they're thinking will happen.
Why do so many people gamble and not have a contract?
Well, they don't think anything's going to happen to them. They don't think that something will turn out bad.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
I do know this, though. That's a mess. And that's going to have to be redone. And I know from you that costs $513. So why isn't he right that if that has to be redone, why should it be at their expense? And your answer is, because I called him. But, nowhere in this letter, they're blaming you completely.
Right.
And this letter was written right afterwards when they said, we decided not to pay you, and here's why. You don't even respond to that and say, what are you kidding me? That was your fault. Do you have any evidence that you told them, whatever you do, don't put in a pool till I tell you the coast is clear? I mean, how many weeks were they supposed to wait?
Until the sand was dry.
Which was when?
I wouldn't know.
Exactly. So, this is kind of, if there's something as critical as don't put up your pool and it's summer, I would kind of expect you to be able to prove that you told that to them. They're denying that was ever said to them. You're saying, I left a message. Hey, can you prove you left a message? Show me your phone records. Something. Give me something to go on. Because what they're saying is your guys just botched it. They're saying that you actually explained how your guys botched it. That they put too much sand in one part because they came up to roots in another. They're saying you actually said that to him.
No.
Based on those pictures, I rule in favor of the defendant.
Thank you.
And so what was your reaction, the plaintiff here, when the judge just ruled against you?
Well, I thought she was wrong about it. I should have been entitled to something.
What have you learned? What
listen.
Mistakes did you make?
Always have a contract.
Oh, of course.
Even if it's for $100, always have a contract.
Of course, you're the businessman. Will you ever work without a contract again after you leave this courtroom?
Probably will, probably.
Don't.
I know.
Okay. All right, head right down this way. All right, so step on in here. What's your feeling on this outcome here?
I'm very happy that it was ruled in our favor. It was poor work, and I'm glad that the judge saw that for what it was.
You're fortunate to come out ahead because you made the same mistake he made. You allowed this work to take place, and there's nothing in writing.
There was nothing in writing, but still the expectation was that the job would be done correctly and all would have been fine.
The specs on the job should have been, and next time will be in writing?
Absolutely.
Even when you're the customer?
Sure.
Harvey?
One reason why the defendant lost this case is he's the businessman and he's the one who has the higher duty of responsibility. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.